HFC American 95 assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Generals win, Astros lose, more trouble for Cuomo. All that and more coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show.
Do we need the charger?
Oh, probably. No, that's pretty good, I think.
Usually you have to get it in the middle of the show.
80%. That should be good.
It's the weather.
80. Oh, the weather. You're on the ball today. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
Very fine, thank you.
Good. You're a little testy this morning. I kind
I
of
just tried
got
to
an
get
edge.
going.
I don't think testy, but there's an edge for some reason.
Right? Well, I had a testy, and then I got stuck to that refrigerator with that new contraceptive. Good morning.
And now
The time is
the testy's holding up a picture
so
of the fridge.
face the final curtain. Just a little.
So apropos.
Folks, Wade and Carter Weather brought to you by the great friends we have at Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. Whether you need some bifin to get rid of bugs or some honcho to get rid of weeds, whatever you need.
Something to feed your bison.
Feed, saddles, tack, cattle prods,
Bug killers,
Whatever
bug
you-
fly traps.
whatever you and your bride are into, they've got it down there. 78 degrees in Victoria. They say it already feels like it's 85. Looking for a high today of 88. So that'll feel like 130.
Yeah, probably. I don't see any heat index warnings. So I think it'll be all
Indices.
right. Chance of rain this afternoon, though. I got 2 inches out at the 2-4 yesterday.
Did
I
you
was
really?
surprised to see that much rain.
That is a lot. That came down quick, too.
Yeah. So
Sounds like a bad honeymoon joke. Just a quick 2 inches. There you have it.
oh Lord. Oh Lord.
Oh, Lord. There, put it up on our faces, not our bellies.
Here we go.
Welcome to you on YouTube. 1,004 of you, faithful every day.
Every day. We appreciate that. Generals win 5-2.
So
Extend their season. Third and final game of their semifinal series tonight at Riverside. It is a free ticket night. Jack's Financial ponying up for that. So
Interesting
And
deal
I'm
to
out
me,
to
though.
travel.
You've got a team that's down to their last out, and they win. And it was a 3-game playoff series. And if they win, they play in the finals the next week. 1 game for the championship.
yeah, that
interesting to
Yeah,
me.
I figured the 1 game would be
This playoff.
this
and then you
playoff,
play
and then the
best 2 out
3-game
of 3.
series. Yeah, that's kind of how I thought it would be. But no, they flipped that on its head.
Yeah, I didn't
But-
know that. Talk about getting flipped on your head. The Astros lose last night. I think it was 7-2 when I decided I'm done.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah.
I decided I was done with them.
Yeah, Odorizzi lived up to the first part of his
Yeah.
last name last night. He was
Stunk it
terrible
up.
early.
There's Judge Posey. Good
Was it
morning, sir.
4-1 after 1 or something like that?
Yeah,
It was
they just
not
pounded him.
good early. David Glass, good morning. Judge Posey's in. Justin Glass checking in. Chris Conrad, good morning. Richard King, Christina Wise, H.R. Mallory, good morning. Patrick Strauss is in. Andy Rhea Jr., Kendra Douglas, Bobby Leister, B.J. Nelson, J. Mark Jameson, producer extraordinaire, Matt Boucher, Lisa Poole, Scott Snow. Good morning, everybody. Glad you're all with us this morning. Brother
Absolutely.
Gary will be here
With content.
with
He's-
content. He's been
very
excited
proud of himself,
and proud
yeah.
of what he's going to bring to the show today. So we'll be the judge of that. But
We love him. You know,
Bobcat Watley, good morning. Karen Webb's in. Carrie Bump.
bump.
There you
bump.
go.
I'm going to see Kerry Bump today. There you go. How about that?
So where do we want to start? It seems like
I thought we already started.
well, we did, but
And thanks. Let's drive safely.
Tracy Price. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Right. Good morning, Tracy Price.
Rob Markinipling, Sheriff Louderback, good morning.
Sheriff, we need to have a Sheriff Louderback sighting over here in Victoria pretty soon.
Yeah.
Now that the media, you pointed it out, Ash, now that Kamala went to a border, I mean, she could have gone to the border of Connecticut. Would have been about as important as going to the border in El Paso.
And would have got as much done.
But now that she's done that, the Dems and the media, which is really one and the same,
They've moved on.
they've just moved on. They're refocused on COVID. They're refocused on the fear of the Delta variant. Dun,
which is
dun,
interesting
dun.
because, and if you notice the shift now, it's gone because 70% of this country has had at least one vaccination or one jab, right?
Right.
About 50% of this country, I think, the last numbers I saw, have had both jabs. Maybe it's a little higher than that.
50%. You really think it's that high?
Probably.
That's
They can
people,
track that and they can track you now.
people over the age of 12. That's true. They can.
But
You've got a heat signature.
And so now they've shifted focus because too much pushback from trying, except with the military, we'll get to that too. But too much pushback on the vaccination shaming that was going on in this country. So now we're going to shift our focus. And Jen Psaki yesterday, well, we've got enough for everybody to get to get fully vaccinated in this country, and we're going to give it away to third world countries.
Right.
Where's all the money we've been giving to third world countries so they could have bought their own vaccines? Nobody asks those questions, but we're going to give it all to third world countries. Meanwhile, ignoring the fact that we have hundreds of thousands a month pouring through our southern border from third world countries that have no handle and grip on COVID, but they're coming through unchecked, and we're sending them out into the country. And the timeline is amazing. We're dealing with a problem here. At about the same time, we started letting in hundreds of thousands through our southern border, unchecked, unvaccinated, unhealth screened, and then put them on planes and started dropping them all around the country. And then you wonder why there's an explosion of the so-called Delta variant. There's your answer, folks.
Right, because they all got off a Delta airline in another state and had it. Chris Conrad says third world countries like Canada. Is it Landy Langston? Is that what it says?
Yeah, that's what it says.
It says, hey, Mr. Louderback, I sent you that's Randy Langston. That's right. Sent you a message the other day. Check it out when you get some time. It is interesting to me that you and I are standing here together. If you've been vaccinated, right, and the vaccine works, if you've been vaccinated and the vaccine works, well, then why do I need to be vaccinated? Because I can't, right? It's not going to give it to you. And if you've been vaccinated and it didn't work, then why do I need to be vaccinated? It's an interesting thing.
There's no common sense or logic to the argument.
Because it kills people, man. That's why, because it kills people.
And it does.
Well, it does.
It has.
Don't be old, fat, and sick. Don't be old, fat, and sick.
Here's another point that I want to make, because of the absurdity of the media with this thing yesterday that I noticed. But there are places now, some employers, that if you don't have the vaccine, you have to get mandatory COVID tests. Some places are saying daily, but if you have the vaccine, you either don't have to or you have to do it less frequently. But as CNN reported earlier this week, the vaccine doesn't lessen your ability to get it or transmit it. It just lessens how it affects you.
So if it only lessens how it affects me, why do you care?
This is. Remember a few weeks ago with the voting laws and Jim Crow? This is the Jim Crow. If you're vaccinated, you're going to have special privileges in this country.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not vaccinated, you're not going to have any privileges.
You're an outcast. You got to take one for the team, or you're a bad person. Now, I'm not suggesting that you shouldn't get vaccinated.
No, not at all.
Good for you. Go be vaccinated. You do you.
But it's just interesting how they're playing this vaccination off on the American people. And then if you don't do it, you're going to kill your neighbor. But we're going to let hundreds of thousands come through our southern border, unchecked, unvaccinated, and no worry about them having the ability to kill your neighbor.
We're not going to test them, and we're not going to vaccinate them. They're going to come in from Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador. They're going to come in.
Asia, Europe. 160 countries have forced through our southern border.
And we're not going to vaccinate them. We're going to give them a UT sweatshirt and a blanket and send them out into the world to find a restaurant to work at. But we're not going to do anything to protect the American people from them. But we
And not
dang
even
sure
from
want
him,
to protect.
from COVID.
Yeah,
We've got to do all the sacrificing.
because we're Americans. It's our fault. Because once somebody here had some slaves, and that makes all of us bad forever, no matter what.
And then yesterday, and you're going to start to see this get ramped up. There was a guy in Baton Rouge. If I would have known how the COVID was going to affect me, I would have got the vaccine.
Okay. It might have lessened your symptoms.
But here, and this guy's been on the news. And then there was another guy in Virginia. You know what these two guys had in common? Between them, they had more chins than the people walking down Fifth Avenue in New York City. They
Got
were
a Beijing phone book.
Yeah, I wasn't going there.
You can. I mean, yeah.
But
Appropriate.
the one dude was about as wide as his hospital bed. I don't know the vaccine would have helped him.
Right.
The other dude in Virginia, 4 rolls under his neck as he's laying there telling people, you should get the vaccine. But we haven't even started that conversation in this country. Remember we talked about it? One of the very first things researchers found, and it is held true, comorbidity, the number one. Obesity, morbidly obese, the number one comorbidity besides being old.
Right. If you're worried about COVID enough to go let somebody stick you twice with a vaccine that hasn't been FDA approved, that nobody knows the long-term side effects of, and you wonn't get off your butt and take a walk around the block to lose 20 pounds, you deserve to die, man. That's the way it is.
But the absurdity
people die.
of pushing these two gentlemen out there as the face of the vaccination pressure and mandate and the coercion of your neighbors and trying to play to your sympathies when they very obviously have the number one comorbidity associated with COVID.
Yeah. Well, it is interesting that
the one dude was probably 3 feet wide.
If you get the vaccine, I find it interesting. You can still get the virus and you can still transmit the virus, but it just won't be as bad for you.
So it's a flu shot.
It's like a flu shot. But the reality is if they're mandating basically that you get the vaccine to keep the pressure off of our hospitals, that's interesting to me.
Yeah. And Alberta has, it's been a long time coming, and probably there's got to be an election around the corner in Alberta for them to take this turn, in my opinion.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll talk about what's going on with the Canadian military. And I'm sure that the Biden administration will find this to be a great idea. Folks, today's a great day to reach out to Terry Murray at Motto Mortgage, 541-5454. Terry can help you lower your current mortgage interest rate. She can see if it makes sense for you to pull cash out for a remodel. She can help you lower your payments, save money. It's all, there's no hocus pocus. It's all.
If you could probably lower your payment, take cash out.
Yeah, she can do that. Let's don't lose HR's comment because it's insightful. Second thing is wind services. Whether you need generators, which you probably do need a generator, storm season. If you need a generator, solar panels, plumbing work, electrical work, they do it all. Call Wind Services in your emergency situations. Oh, I got a pipe that busted. Call Wind. They've got trucks all over the place. They'll come running to your aid. That's Wind Services. USA Concrete Coatings, Charlie Garcia.
Home is the number to call.
578-HOME. Charlie is doing amazing transformations all over our region.
Thanks. You used to struggle with that.
Yeah, I did. I just have to slow down. People come and see his work. And by the way, you can too. Go to Facebook. Go to USA Concrete Coatings page and check out what he's done. He'll go in usually in one day, typically in one day. They will clean, seal the cracks in your garage floor and put down just a tough as nails polyurethane coat that won't peel, crack, fade, discolor, won't absorb oil. It's awesome. And they do a tremendous job and are just really blowing and going here.
Hides blood and DNA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. OJ would have loved it. If he knew where the killer was. And then reach out to Cheryl at the Gray Barn.
361-920-6803.
She does not have time to do your event. She's way overbooked, but she will at least talk to you. And she's very pleasant. 920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl, and she'll make your next party memorable.
So you wanted to get to HR's comment.
I just want to see what HR knows. I saw HR yesterday. The dog was walking HR. HR has lost weight.
Has he?
Yes. And what's happened is he was in Del Rio. I said, HR, you've lost some
He went
weight.
across the border and drank water, didn't he?
Well, I said, you've lost some weight. And he goes, it's hot. It's hot in Del Rio. You know, he's out there. He's a state trooper. He's out there in that wonderful gray brown. I don't know what that color is. I don't know. It's the pants are a little darker than the shirts. I don't know. It's not. It's like the Cowboys' old, Monday night road uniform. You're kind of like, I don't know. But he also has to wear, or he wears a vest, and it's
Body
hot.
cam,
Oh yeah, but he looks great.
cowboy fedora.
But if he tells us something, he knows what he's talking about. So what did he say here?
Just want to point out everyone's upset about the governor's mandates for COVID and border. Just remember the legislature did nothing to reassert legislative power during the past session. And where is some of our legislature now playing hooky in D.C. because Congress is in recess?
There you go.
There you go.
HR clearly conservative. He'll be at the Yacht Rock party. Already confirmed it.
So Alberta kind of going its own, and I'm wondering what the blowback from Justin Trudeau's administration will be, his regime in Ottawa. But they said isolation measures. This is a strong statement for a government official anywhere. Isolation measures were incredibly disruptive and are no longer necessary thanks to vaccine protection.
So now he's a doctor.
Well, this is the health expert in Alberta.
Dr. Fauché.
Close contacts of people who test positive for COVID are no longer being notified by contact tracers, nor are they required to isolate. Starting August 16th, infected individuals will no longer be legally required to isolate either.
So you can get it and just run all around town.
Basically.
Okay. Really? I mean, if I knew I had it, I would stay home and try to keep
like you would with any other communicable disease, right?
Right. Unless I was
I mean, did she just not admit that basically this thing is like a more serious flu? If we're not going to require you to do these things, the things that you should be doing anyway.
Right.
And I have to wonder if the government would have just said, be a good neighbor. If you're not feeling well, stay home. Been around somebody who's sick, stay home for a few days, let this thing play out. If our government would have done that instead of, you got to stay home.
It's all about control.
People might have been a little bit better with it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
These people.
Alberta's going to catch flack from the rest of Canada, though. And probably a bunch of Canadians who just have the absolute
isolation.
Nice one, Ice.
Mr. Switalski.
I was surprised at the number of Canadians who just kowtowed to the government up there and just had no problem listening to and obeying.
Sugar made me laugh because you were saying you should stay home as you would with any other communicable disease. And I'm like, well, unless you have an STD in Lubbock, then you just run rampant all around Texas Tech. The STD capital of the world. How can you have the STD capital of America without having like Lubbock being like one of the top party schools?
I don't know.
It's an issue. It's definitely an issue. Sugar says I was a super spreader. Oh, goodness.
HR says it drives his wife nuts that the pants don't match the shirt.
They
Not
don't.
as bad as the Army dress blues. Is it by design, though?
I think it's by design. They probably went with the low bidder on the pants. And
they weren't the same manufacturer as the shirt. Yeah.
It's Dickies and Wrangler. And it's just, you can't get the same denim.
Match.
Yeah.
They use the neighboring sweatshops in India, but they both can't get the same base fabric.
Now, what does it say? Ricky King, the reasoning for the mismatch is a cool piece of history, but I really like the new pinks and greens World War II throwback. I think they're just having their own conversation. I
think
apologize.
so. I think he
didn't
was
mean
talking
to-
about the dress blues in the Army.
Oh, okay.
earlier. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I don't know why the pants don't match. I don't know.
We digress. U.S. women's national soccer team, bronze, beats Australia 4-3. Does anybody care?
Nah. Ever since they decided to take a knee and all that. And somebody the other day said, I'm rooting for my country. I'm not rooting for an individual player. I just think that
On a team made up of a bunch of people who don't root for their country.
it shows me a lack of leadership. Somebody on that team, Mia Hamm, which it's just a miracle. Or was she a race car driver?
No, she was.
That's Danica Patrick.
Yeah.
Same person, different sport. Mia Hamm, who married Omar Garcia Parra. Nomar Garcia Parra. At least I got Garcia Parra right.
Got that right, yeah. Nomar, Roman backwards.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah, I believe so.
Interesting. Mia would not have stood for that. No pun intended. She would have said, hey, we're going to stand up for the national anthem. Shows a lack of leadership on the women's soccer side.
And I think their priorities were not where they needed to be to win a gold medal. They were more focused on everything but the soccer.
Politics.
Yeah. But Canada and Sweden playing for the gold, and I believe the game time has been moved because temperatures were pushing like 47, 48 degrees Celsius. That was the forecast for game time.
Really?
That's hot.
That's hot.
Yeah. So
Because 100 is about 30, right?
I think like 40.
Is it? I think you're talking like 120 degrees.
Probably more than that. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm gonna quickly do that for you.
Do your Celsius converter.
Yeah, 117 degrees Fahrenheit at 47 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty hot.
Ooh.
I should have just trained in
Have
Phoenix.
to get in the hot tub to cool off.
So, Hall of Fame game tonight. Cowboys Steelers.
Seriously.
Preseason NFL football just never had excited me, and still doesn't.
Still may have to watch
50 some odd years later. No, I'm going to be watching the CFL game. Actually, no, I'm going to be watching the Generals game because I'll be down there calling their final home game of the year. Win or lose, this is the last game. You get a chance to go watch the Generals this
Unless
season.
you want to travel.
Unless you want to travel to San Antonio. They're playing the Flying Chonklers in the championship because they beat
You've got to love
Valley.
a team called the Flying Chonklers.
Their logo's pretty cool too, actually. Team colors, not so much mash of blue and yellow and pink and gray, but
It's Fiesta-ish.
it is kind of. But I'll be there. But the CFL, Canadian Football League, kicks off their 14-game season tonight. They had no preseason, going straight into a 14-game shortened regular season. All the CFL games for me and Chris Conrad will be televised on either ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN News,
Or the Ocho.
or ESPN Plus.
ESPN 8, the Ocho.
Yeah, so for the Canadians listening,
When that movie came out, there weren't but like 2 ESPNs.
maybe ESPN.
Now there are like
News.
half a dozen.
Yeah.
It's funny because it was dodgeball, right? Tune in; it'll be on the Ocho.
It was dodgeball.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and now they show dodgeball on the Deuce.
It's crazy.
So I hope.
I'll probably watch the Cowboys for a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I'll probably tune in a little bit when I get home
I don't know what they're.
because it's an NFL game.
Who are they playing?
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Because it's an NFL game that's preseason, and it's on national TV. So if they kick off at 7, I'll get home and I'll still probably catch the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter at about 11 o'clock.
There's still the Cowboys are very much like the Longhorns. It's like, hey, put it on TV, somebody will watch it, and it's just not a great product. They need to find a way to be a better product. But I do like on a steel gray Pittsburgh morning, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. John Facenda, one of the great, most recognizable voices of all time.
You recognize the voice, you don't know the name.
Right.
Most people. But even his predecessor or his successor, Steve Sable, right?
Yeah.
He was good too.
He was really good.
And I don't know who does him now. I thought his son.
Chris Collinsworth. Juan Soto, who's still 21 years
He's
old.
21 years old.
He's got to be like 23 now. He pounds the baseball.
Scherzer was pounding the strike zone last night.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher.
Yeah, he is.
And the Dodgers were formidable before he got there.
But they've had some issues, and I don't know. I think they might have given up a lot to get him. But short run. Zach Smith says, good game last night. It was. Starting pitcher was dealing. Yeah, Riley Egloff was pretty dialed in. I'm not going to say that there weren't opportunities for Acadiana because
The cane cutters?
Yeah, he did give up 8 hits, and a couple of them were bloops, but they hit him hard a couple of times. But he managed to work himself out of a couple of jams. But the Generals took a 3-0 lead on 1 hit.
Somebody hit a homer?
Lots of walks, hit batters,
Oh, okay.
those sorts of things. And to that point, I think that was the 5th inning. The Acadiana pitcher had a perfect game going until he walked the first batter. So
Awesome.
yeah.
BJ Nelson says
Interesting
St.
game.
Joe Flyer football has begun. They're, I guess, practicing. Says it's exciting to go watch.
I will be honest,
I appreciate that.
try to be. Until you get to scrimmaging, football practice might be the most boring of all sports to watch
You
practice.
just hear that whistle. Yep. What's up?
Maybe watching grounders in baseball.
Oh, I like to watch In and Out though. You go
In
to
and out's different.
you go to a
because they're
major
getting
league
ready for a
game though,
but
and
I mean,
you watch
going.
people, the ball's flying
Yeah.
everywhere. Nobody ever gets hit. It's just a beautiful thing. It's
Well, but
fun
I
to
mean, if
watch.
you're going to watch practice,
Yeah.
Until you get to the scrimmage part of a practice, I think football practices might be the most boring to try to
running,
sit and
the up
watch.
downs, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about? The guys over first base side hitting infield, and the guys over there hitting
Well,
on
the
the
guys on
third
the
base side hitting
and-
fly balls, and the balls are
Yeah.
flying in and out. There's 2 catchers out there. And it's fun to watch. Folks, Atzenhofer, Atzenhofer.com, Atzenhofer Chevrolet, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi. Saw a Chevy on the lot today, 21 and change. Perfect back-to-school car for a young person. If James Kerr's daughter puts too many miles on going back and forth to VC, then I love BJ Nelson. I thought she was going to marry Hardin Bader. Yeah, she is. We were just razzing Kurtz, who is Kurth, who is funny. He was a very good sport and really, really made us
Yeah.
laugh. Atzenhofer, folks,
Made him laugh.
all makes and models, all service, all paint and body. They do it all at your local dealership. White Trash Services, 7-county area right here for monthly trash or weekly trash
Weekly
service.
trash service, whatever you need, they can accommodate.
Roll-off dumpster for a big project. You need the White
But-
Trash site services to come
Into the
raise
city.
building. Yeah, they can do that
Their trash trucks, they get blocked as soon as they hit the city limits. It's like a barrier,
because Waste Management is the mafia. And the
but
next
they can
thing
come
you
in and handle all your site cleanup.
550-1826. Apologies to Waste Management. Please don't
It's
kill
like
me.
the tractor being just.
Please don't kill me and put me in a dumpster. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hall and his squad, they're beyond the geek squad. They are the people that understand analytics. They understand your data, your encryption, how you protect your credit card information that's on your website, how you collect money on your website, communicate directly with your QuickBooks. All of these things that you and I just simply can't understand. They do it every day. They do it for Fortune 100 companies, and they'd love to do it for you. And then, of course, the law offices of Steve Kidder. I saw Steven just the other day. He said to tell you all hi. I called him yesterday. My father has passed. We talked about when should we probate a will? Is it important to do? And does it need to be done? Everything passes to my mom, and Steven had some great advice. And it's just a friendly conversation. If you need him, call him. The law offices of Steve Kidder. He will help you get through whatever you've got going on. And then, of course, Complete and the 360 and the Health Bar. Reach out on the north side, right next to Buffalo Wild Wings. Go in and get a smoothie and all their cool, low, like high protein, low carb snacks. They've also got pre-made meals that you can literally put in the microwave.
All the supplements you
fresh.
need to replenish your body
Yep,
after strenuous
supplements.
workout.
Yep. Stuff that makes Gatorade go, man, I wish I was that good. reach out to them. And over here on the south side by us, right here next to the Tower of Power, you've got the Health Bar and paninis and wraps and bowls.
Fresh meat.
It's all great.
Yeah.
Great.
It really is.
There's Joe Davenport. Good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Zach Smith says another free ticket night tonight. We mentioned that. I will say this: I thought the crowd. Not often that I believe home field makes a difference, and it wasn't because of the crappy bounces and things like that. But I thought the Generals fans were loud last night at the game, and when the starting pitcher for Acadiana walked the batter, and then they walked the next one, and there were guys at first and second. They kicked it up and brought the noise, and I think they might have made a little difference in that inning.
I've observed when I'm there, and I know you're up in the booth and you can still hear the crowd, but they have a fairly knowledgeable baseball crowd. I mean, the fans that are there know the game, and it's fun to be around people that know the game. That's you hear somebody say, "Boy, right, if he could get a bunt down here on the right side," and all of a sudden the guy does it, and you're like, "Hey, that guy's it's good. It's fun to be around people like that."
Not only be with fans, it's not just General fans, because I've noticed it elsewhere. You can keep making noise as the play goes on. You don't have to stop just because the pitcher's in his windup.
Right. I got Justice Rotowski says, Gatorade is awesome. HR comes back with, no, water is better. I mean, less filling, tastes great. Our listeners fighting amongst themselves on a Thursday as we limp along towards the weekend. Dawn Nicole's convinced that they're manipulating the weather, by the way. Look outside. It's still dark. She thinks it's them, whoever they are. They identify that way. They're manipulating the weather. Oh, and I want to put you on the spot on one. You and I talked the other day about things that we didn't mention that we just kind of overlooked. One was the passing of, was it Dusty Hill, the bass player,
ZZ Top, yeah.
The ZZ Top bass player. They figured out long ago that it was easier to split millions 3 ways than 4, 5, or 6. And
didn't really need anybody else.
No, and they made a lot of
guitars and a drum,
a lot of sound for 3 people. And then, of course, the drummer never spoke and certainly didn't sing.
It's like a harmony.
Penn and Teller.
I think they also realized that probably make more money with 3 of them than each trying to go their own way.
No, they did good. Did they even have a solo album at some point?
Hard to be a solo album drummer.
It's kind of an ego thing, isn't it? You're like, you go do your show and I'll do my show. Let's see who has better ratings.
Yeah.
Then we know.
Kind of like Brooks and Dunn.
Right. Kind of like, hey, on a serious note, that failure, kind of like Martin and Lewis.
A little bit, yeah.
They were on top of the world together. And to me, Jerry Lewis was always kind of a meh after he left Dean Martin.
Kind of like when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Jimmy Superfly Snuka split up in the WWF.
Or
never achieved
Jimmy
the same.
Carter and Walter Mondale. Yeah.
Never achieved the
Things
same.
were never the same.
And then who was it? Ron Popeil.
Ron Popeil, the Bassomatic.
Probably made more money than all of them
He
combined.
probably did. You'll remember Ron Popeil as the guy who had the
Pocket Fisherman.
The Pocket Fisherman was a huge win. Just fold it out and throw it out. I mean, it's just the dumbest thing ever.
What do you mean dumb? This thing was, it was, let's be honest, the pocket part of Pocket Fisherman was a bit of a stretch. Probably fit in these cinched jeans nicely.
Right.
But back then, pockets were small. But it held, you put the lures right in it.
Oh, yeah. It held your lures.
You know what it looked like? It looked like a chalk line. When you string one of those out, that's what it looked like.
Iceman says Billy Gibbons has done a few solo tracks. Okay.
Thank you.
And Junior Snow says he has an award.
I'm sure they have.
There you go.
They have a few. Probably, honestly, when you really think about it, and it was a marriage that was mutually beneficial. MTV and ZZ Top. I don't know that either one of them rise to the prominence they had in the 80s without each other.
And Madonna.
Because
Madonna, Whitney Houston, they all rode that wave.
But ZZ Top's videos couldn't be made today because they were full of scantily clad women.
Semi-nude women.
Yes. Playing to all the stereotypes.
Fast cars and loud noises.
Yeah. And skanky women.
Right. Did we mention Skanky Woman?
Yes.
That's a prerequisite in a rock and roll video.
But
Junior Sample says, I have a pocket fisherman. I don't know how to pocket pool, maybe. I don't know what you're
I
doing.
don't know what Iceman's talking about. But
What did Peter
what
McNally
else?
say?
You were
Pete?
going
Then
to
we
say
were
something.
also we talked about Ron Popeil passed away.
Yeah.
And
You said you were going to put me on the spot, and I don't know what it was.
okay, so Ryan, Peter McNally asked a question. We always like to respect that. It says, where do the remaining members of the Big 12 end up after the end of the present members, OU and UT?
I think,
leave
well,
the
there's
SEC?
discussions, I think, between Bob Bowlesby and the new commissioner of the Pac-12. So conceivably, some of those teams are going to end up in the Pac-12. I think West Virginia probably ends up going back east somewhere, maybe into the ACC. I don't think you're going to have 5 conferences when this is all said and done.
Yeah,
I think you're
4.
going to have 4 larger conferences of 16 teams.
Now,
And I
Pete's
think
saying,
Notre Dame might actually end up with a conference home
or
final.
in the Big 10, Pete's saying, is it as simple as just bringing in SMU and U of H? The problem with that is you just lost a huge amount of revenue.
Well, revenue, marquee names off your billboard. Let's be honest, UH is not UT. No slight, but they don't have the same fan base, alumni base,
and SMU is not OU.
appeal nationally.
Yeah.
SMU hasn't excited anybody since Dickerson and James.
True story. That was 35 years ago.
Yeah.
At least, almost 40 years ago.
So
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
I mean, I
Almost
guess
40
they
years
could,
ago.
but the Big 12 is not going to. The Big 12 will end up being Conference USA,
Yeah.
or one of these mid-major conferences. It won't be a Power 5 conference, and at that point, the Big 12, if we stayed with the 5 conferences, that power conferences, then I think you start seeing schools like South Florida start trying to get into the Big 12 so they would have that ticket into a football playoff. But I don't think college football is going to let a
Right.
Big 12 without UT or Oklahoma stay in the mix for a national championship.
Peter McNally says people in Waco are quite irritated. I think it's worth noting, who cares? I'm so sick of Baylor. I couldn't care less if Baylor's upset. Now, I know that BJ Nelson's a Baylor alum, but she's not a big Baylor football fan. She's much more of an Aggie at heart now. But Baylor fan came in, and so Baylor fan, the other day was talking to me about, you guys are too busy losing to Kansas. And I went back and looked at it. And we're like, 16-1 all time against Kansas, and we lost to them once.
That's all it takes.
I know we're not.
John Paul Hall says Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma State are all in a bad spot. They are.
They are in a bad spot because they're all Texas with a name added, Oklahoma directional state. I mean, if you're not Oklahoma, if you're not Texas, and you're not A&M, who happens to be a huge university that forged their own trail, you are struggling. If you don't like Tech being left out, move Tech out of Lubbock. Come out of the desert, you bunch of athletic Ethiopians. Get out of the desert. Get a U-Haul and move that university somewhere that people want to go. I mean, I'm just shooting you straight.
It's one of the largest campuses in the state.
There's no doubt. And by the way, I like Lubbock, but
and I like the moves Texas Tech as a system is doing. They've taken on some schools that used to be in the Texas State system that are now under Texas Tech, Angelo State, and a few others.
We liked it so much we hired their coach. And they were dumb enough, Tech fans were dumb enough to go, we can't believe Chris Beard left us to go to Texas. I mean, we just thought he's going to be here forever. Oh, yeah, because Lubbock is a destination spot.
BJ Nelson says she just wants Thanksgiving to be what it was when she was growing up. Turkey family, Longhorns and Aggies.
There you go. But no family. I'm sorry. The COVID restrictions are in place, and you can't.
Unless you wear a mask around them all inside.
You got to wear a mask. And by the way, Ash and I are starting to think about wearing a mask here on the air to keep you folks safe.
John Paul Hall says, thanks for wearing Aggie maroon today.
I love this shirt. I would wear this proudly with you, JP. If you want to take me to a game.
But how these teams fall out, a little bit uncertain. I think at that level, geography doesn't play as big a role as it does in, certainly the NAIA conferences and Division II conferences. Obviously, with West Virginia being in the Big 12, geography plays no role in conference alignment there. But I could see Texas Tech heading to the Pac-12.
I could too.
I mean, there's similarly aligned schools already in that conference.
And they'd be a
Washington
good
State,
member.
Arizona State.
They'd be a good member out
They'd be
there.
a good member out
They
there.
would. They'd be a good member.
They bring some strength to sports where the Pac-12 used to have some panache and some recognizability, like baseball. Tech's baseball program is pretty darn good.
But here's the
Their basketball
problem. The
program is
Aggies
done
just
pretty good.
hired Schlossnagle. Their basketball program has been a top 10, and Texas just hired Chris Beard. I mean, I have to be honest, I don't know who their football coach is, right? The Dykes, he's at SMU, right? Sonny Dykes.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know who their football coach is in Lubbock. Since Mike Leach left, I mean, I can't tell you.
Was King? No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Kingsbury for a while, wasn't it?
Cliff Queensberry, wasn't it? Yeah.
Arizona.
He went. Yeah, he's now the Arizona coach. He basically
BJ
said,
Nelson asked, when's UHV going to bring football to their program?
after
BJ,
curling. Curling's
after
cheaper.
curling, football. It was
Very
probably 10
expensive
years
sport.
ago when I looked at it. I'd probably double that price tag. We'd be looking at 10 to 15 million to start it
Very expensive.
without facilities. It's not a cheap proposition.
Maybe Razor IT Solutions. I'll pay double.
Adam Sugar says, are A&M and Texas going to go back to screwing up each other's great seasons?
I think so. Although I don't see how Texas is going to have any great seasons for a while. They've really, really got to show me something. The Aggies are on the right trend.
For a program that consistently has a top 5 recruiting class, according to all those guys who rate recruiting classes, Texas should be a top 5 program every single year, which tells you how legit these magazines are and these procrastinators, prognosticators, when they actually go and rank these recruiting classes.
Yeah, they don't know what they're talking about.
Other than Alabama and maybe Clemson. The rest are a crapshoot for recruiting classes because they don't ever live up to the billing of, we got the number 3 recruiting class in the nation and we can't even crack the top 25.
I'd rather see Nick Saban's rating of players at the high school level. Hey, what do you make of
That's what I'm
this?
saying. He may not ever be ranked number 1 recruiting class, but he's always in the top 2
He's
in the
number
country.
1. He's the number 1 coaching class. He puts on the number 1 coaching class. What do you think about this kid, this Quinn Ewers?
Jason Court says downtown bar and grill Saturday night. Yeah, I think there's a big, loud, heavy metalish rock show going on down there. So if anybody's interested, check that out Saturday night.
What do you make of this kid? Is it Ewers? Is the kid that's the can't miss 5-star quarterback that signed with Ohio State?
I saw that.
So the kid,
The senior year.
yeah, the kid has graduated from high school. He's got the credits to graduate from high school. So he decides to enroll at the Ohio State University like now, and
Give up his senior year.
gives up his senior year of high school. And what's interesting to me is that there are all kinds of well-meaning but meddling adults who are going, you're only a senior in high school once, kid. And okay, I can go with that. You're also only the top recruited quarterback in the history of the world once and going to a major university once. And oh, by the way, there's a couple of milli waiting for you in name, image, and likeness once. And what happens if everybody wants that kid to stay in high school one more year? I guess so he
because
can
they
go to
want
the prom.
No,
But what's he gonna
it's
do
more
if he
than
goes
that. They
there and
want them to
shatters
win.
his
They
knee?
want them to win a national or a state championship.
Well, big deal. He can buy him one. What if he goes out and shatters his knee in week 2 and doesn't go to Ohio State and doesn't get the name, image, and likeness money? I mean, I think if you've graduated from high school on paper, see ya. If you're D1 ready, and he is D1 ready.
You know what's interesting? They don't have a problem with these kids who come out after their football season, early graduates from high school, and then go into the college in January and have that first semester in the spring before their football season because they've already played the football season.
Right.
That's the difference here. He's like, you know what? I'm not going to play.
These weren't even just local people. These were like people on the national. One of the quarterbacks, Trevor, Trevor Knight that played at Oklahoma and for the Aggies. He goes, I think this is a terrible mistake on this young man's part. You're only in high school once. I'm like, are you kidding me? What's he going to do? Stay around? And so he stays around and puts up a bunch of numbers at a high school, and Ohio State's like going, we want you now.
He thought about Texas first, remember?
Yeah, and he made the right decision. Ohio State.
It might have been a terrible mistake when you came out of college making $30,000 a year in the NFL and you had to go get a job in the offseason to
like
make ends meet.
like Roger Staubach did. Which, by the way, Roger's a billionaire now with real estate.
But when you've got opportunities now and that kind of talent,
you got to go.
You're
And if he's a baseball player,
signing-
nobody's mad at him.
your signing bonus could set you up for life.
Guaranteed money.
Yeah.
Right
You
on
get
the sheet.
injured, you never have to, get a debilitating injury.
I can take care of my family.
A la
Build my mama a house.
RG3,
I'm gonna build my mama a house.
done, right? So yeah.
Let's take a final break and then let's give ample time to the man with the
Let's do
plan.
this real quick.
Let's
Saturday night, 7:00 show starts at 7:30. The doors will open at Downtown Bar and Grill. A bunch of bands from San Antonio, Houston, Victoria. Some of these names, I don't know many of them. Cold Casket, Southern Drawback, Under My Knife, Cauterized, Scum, Don't Tell Harry.
Cauterized Scum. They've got to be good.
No, that's two bands.
Oh,
Cauterized and Scum.
okay. Because I thought, man,
But Cauterized, if they jam together, it's Cauterized
that'd be
Scum.
cool. That's
So look, the Iceman's going to go.
sounds like you and I could probably start a band and get right on the main deal there on the dais.
Can't sing.
Cauterized
play an
Scum.
instrument.
Cauterized Scum. What would we be?
I don't
Rectal Itch. Brought to you by,
Preparation H.
there you have it,
And Geritol.
and Geritol.
Not exactly the demo those two companies are looking for
Wow.
out there on Saturday night.
Folks, real quick, Allen's Record Service, 578-6300 on these wet roads. Watch yourself.
Cindy might come down for that show.
wants you. Allen's wants you to arrive alive. And they also want you to realize that when you see the first responders on the side of the road, give them a wide berth. Slow down, move over. Don't be in such a hurry that you add to the problem. Watch out for Allen's Record Service, 578-6300. The man could be armed. Be careful. The VCS companies, we talk about the Hartman Empire all the time. They are great folks. They are a wonderful family committed to you and to service. If you need phone service, surveillance, security, surround sound, whatever, cameras at your house, fire suppression at your business, it goes on and on and on. Inspections of your suppression system, they do all these things. The Hartmans have been doing it forever. It started with a two-way radio, a ranch radio, and they've just expanded and grown. They do body cameras for law enforcement. They do dash cams. I think they have something to do with the Kardashians. I'm not positive, but reach out to the Hartmans. They are great folks. Chesnick Furniture, Brother Gary's standing here. You know Bobby Leon probably most of Bobby Leon's life.
I've known him for a long time.
And
Did you teach him?
They're
I did teach him.
fantastic folks. But if we're very blessed here.
He's the one. He's the one guy in Victoria, Brother Gary never taught.
Whether it's Tommy Taylor or BJ Nelson, Scott Nelson, Craig, the folks over there, Carl, Alan Miller, on and on, Carl Wendt. These guys are all friends of ours. They all believe in this forum. And I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that the folks at Chesnick Furniture do believe that you just do better at Chesnick. And we say Chesnick and love, make your house a home. Yesterday was called a Wednesday. Today, things won't be quite as a flurry. Get over to Veracruz today. Today's a great day to go in, put in an order for an enchilada casserole, pick it up tomorrow, and you can enjoy it all weekend because there's plenty. Do that. You'll be glad you did. Amanda Smith King. Hello, Brother Gary.
Hi, Amanda.
So it's great to have the great one with us. We love to have lots of fun with Brother Gary, but never, ever misconstrue that we don't adore this gentleman because he has been a mainstay in my family for 50 years.
Thought about you last night, too.
Yes, sir.
Thought about your family.
Appreciate you. Absolutely.
Ask you, Brent.
He was at a buffet. Thought about me and Mom.
Well, I'm going to tell you where it was and who was talking.
Okay.
Last night, boys, before I got to the Generals game, man, Brent, I went down and we had the pep rally for Unleash the Titans kick off the school year.
Oh, fantastic.
I spoke over there, and your old
Mike Smith was there. Did he go, are you ready?
Oh, man, did he throw it in there?
Junior Sample said he did a little Caldo Wednesday yesterday, and it was very good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Isn't
I'm
that-
going there tonight.
So
for
you
a meeting.
you've known Mike Smith 50 years, and you think about the fact that
Together all along.
he used to be so quiet, and the only place he ever exerted anything was on the basketball
A
court.
few chairs across the
And he might be like Bobby Knight Jr. kind of,
jackets.
but now he is cheerleader number one.
Well, he's a golf coach now.
Yeah, he is
And
awesome.
he starts off real calm last night, and I speak first, and then we bring him on. And starts off real calm, and then he opens
Oh,
up.
man, he's-
Like
But you
that.
know what? I've seen him over the years at some pep rallies. He gets pretty fired up.
He was fired up last night. He gets fired up because I've done a bunch of
Oh man,
and
he's
he
so
was great. Unleashed the Titans. Getting back.
That's what golf does to a fella.
yeah. You got to let it out somewhere, right?
Yeah.
All those years coaching you.
Well, you can let it out on the basketball court. You can kick the chair on the bench.
Oh.
In golf, there's no outlet.
I tell people all the time. I said, very common that he would use like my name in the same sentence with like Steve Sperlin and
Right.
Rusty McDowell, and he would say something like Brent Carter. He's no Sperlin or McDowell.
Exactly.
That's how that went. That's where I dwelt.
Well, I'll tell you, it was good stuff last night. Full house at the Titans gym. Loved it. Then I went to the Generals game, walked in at 2-0, and stayed there and saw him get the 5 runs. And listening to you.
Brother Gerges, my work here is done.
Hey,
We're gonna win.
They
Going
told me
home.
not to leave because I was a good rep when I walked in. So I stayed to make sure we were 8th inning. I said, we got it.
Then you go and go to the house.
Yeah, they had the tying run to the plate in the ninth.
They were
It was the
gonna
final.
happen, though. I know what's going to happen. But tonight we'll be back down there. Got to go to Veracruz
Yeah,
first
free ticket night tonight.
for a meeting, Alzheimer's meeting. So, but let me give you a quick ones. Washington Wag, Dorothy O'Connor today and tomorrow. Take care of your little buddies. This one came to me, new one, Ash, Brent. We love them. Saving Animal Lives garage sale and raffle fundraiser at 802 Lawndale New Group, 8 to 3, Friday and Saturday. So we're raising money for little buddies.
Randy Langston says, Brother Gary, just check behind his left ear for the tattoo. Which clone is he? There's no way there's only one of him. He's everywhere. He has the Moses, the swag chopper. He got it from A&M. They don't need it anymore.
I got anything
He's
more?
drives
Martin
around.
says check his garage for the DeLorean.
Right?
We got some in
Back in time.
Last one, Carson Coffee Saturday too. We were there, Brent.
Yes, sir. Down at Bella Farms
Last month.
again.
Last month. Bella Farms, Saturday morning, 8:30
If-
to 11.
It should be beautiful. We recommend that. I really recommend. Sarah Vela opens up her restaurant and lets people come in, and there's breakfast available. It's just a wonderful place.
It just feels good.
It's nice. It's a nice place.
Just wait till one of those old jalopies has a brake failure. Then Vela Farms will have drive-through.
Straight through for the
You're
drive-through.
having breakfast with us.
Right.
Hey, I got some good stuff, boys, I think. Well, last week I had it, but we couldn't get to it. But here we go. Dak Prescott. We were talking about Dak. Remember the long shot?
Yes, sir.
MVP. All right, Dak Prescott. Over and unders. We're going to remember these for the end of the year. Here we go.
For the end of school.
Back in school. Dak Prescott, total yards for this year, 2021, 17-game schedule. Predicted 4,000, the over-unders, 4,775.
Okay.
Passing yards or
Passing yards. Just passing yards.
4,000, how many?
775.
I mean, I could take the over.
No,
It
that
just depends
means
if he plays that many games.
That's a
If he
16 game.
plays it all.
That's a 16-game season of him throwing for 4,300, 4,400.
17.
You
Yeah.
add another game into that, and they say 47. I don't think I'm there.
I'd have to
Under.
take the under for two reasons. It's a great season, and he might get hurt
That's right.
if I had to bet on it.
Yeah. All right. That was one. I just wanted to throw it out there. They said he was on pace for close to 6,000.
How many
And he got
indictments
hurt.
for Deshaun Watson? What's the over and under on that?
He's 4-3.
Okay. Yeah.
Tyrod
I
Taylor.
bet you he starts that first game.
I think you're probably right. All right, Dak Prescott, total passing touchdowns for the 2021 season.
Hang on.
Take a guess what they picked?
They said,
2 times 17,
no,
34.
yeah, I'm going 36. They said 36.
This is low. They picked, said 27 over and under. 27
With
passing
with
touchdowns.
with Galloway or Gallo
Passing
no.
touchdowns.
I would take the over on that with less than 4,700 yards.
Okay.
I got him for
Overall,
30
27.
TDs at
I would
least.
say over. It's 27 sounds light for that.
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I agree.
27
Well,
sounds
unless they
light.
plan to give it to Zeke inside the 10, then maybe.
Well, okay.
He looks great, by the way.
He does,
He
but
looks
will
great.
he perform? We got to make sure he performs. We need him.
It all
Who
depends.
cares?
It all depends on the gummies.
Ask ask you, is Brendan going to talk to you when you go up there to watch Cowboys?
I will be
Hey,
on I'll be over there.
Brother,
Get the ball to Zeke.
doesn't matter how you play, it's how you look.
That's right.
Well, you gotta
He
look
looks
good.
good.
And Zeke
That's what
looks
we're all
good.
trying to strive for, right?
He looks good.
We're all striving for that.
Yes, sir.
All right, two more. Real
Must be a
quick.
contract
Two
here.
Let's get two more.
more.
Two more. And we got time. Rob's not
Oh.
coming today, so we're out where we have a couple of minutes after.
We were gonna get out of here early. We just hang around late to bug Ralph.
That's what you're ready to go.
Morning,
I'm
Bill.
going with you when you go.
Right?
This one, who's the only pro athlete? Only pro
Tom
athlete
Brady.
just signed. Well,
Wayne Gretzky.
He will be signed his second $200 million contract. He had one for $200 million, 4 years, $50 million a year. He just signed his
Football?
basketball.
Steph
LeBron
Curry.
James.
Golden State Warriors. Who
Curry.
would that be? Curry. Stephon Curry signed another 4-year extension, $54 million a year. For 4 years, $216 million. He's the only pro athlete. to ever
Where's the
sign
NBA
$200
getting this money?
I don't know.
Because the ratings are down.
Yeah.
China. They get it from China. Do you think you could lace them up for $750,000 a night? Could $750,000 a night?
Is that what it is?
About.
that?
82
Give me
games?
one night pay.
54 million.
Give me one game's pay, and I will stand in the paint and take every charge that comes at me.
It's like it'd be like that. Have you seen that video where they prop the guy up to play goalie and the ball bounces off his face over and over? Have you seen this? You'd be like that
Volleyball.
guy. Oh, and Ash takes another charge. Oh,
I would take it.
$200 million contract.
200
He's
million.
$54 million a year, 260.
And he's only like 30 years old. I mean, he's not
Yeah,
old.
no, he's got. He might have
He
another.
might have
one to take.
another one in there.
Might have another in the tank. That's good stuff. All
Oh,
right, we'll finish up with our Texas and Texas A&M boys. Okay.
tell us.
All right, over and under wins. This is the latest, close to the start of the season. All right, we'll start with A&M first because you got the maroon
Hey,
shirt on.
Scott Tomko says, why the heck is Steph Curry doing Subway commercials?
Yeah, what's he need that for?
Got 400 million in the bank. He must really like that sandwich.
Oh my God,
Child
he's
support.
loaded for life. We'd pick up the change and all that in his pocket. We'd be happy.
John Paul Hull says Coach Smith would be a great person to have on the
She
show.
knows better.
John Paul. Yeah, he'll start off slow and then around.
He would just be fun.
All right, here we go. Texas A&M, Texas over and unders at the like this point in the preseason right here. Texas A&M over and under 9.5.
Oh, I think they can win 10 this year. I do.
I think so.
They're going to lose to Alabama.
I see 9 wins in their future.
Yeah, okay.
The under?
You take the under. I'll take the.
Well, the half is. I mean, that's such a chicken crap way
gonna
out
win
for
9
these
or 10,
guys.
9 or 10.
You can't win a half a game in football.
Well, that's why they want you to pick one. You're
Yeah,
going to lose.
yeah.
You're going to win or lose.
Yeah, but
Well, there's no push.
No push.
the 9 could be the push.
Okay.
Over under 9, right?
Well, it could be. If
We're
you want-
thinking they're going to win 9. You're going to win 8 or going to win 10. I think 9 is
they want
the
to make
number.
sure they get it either way.
I got them winning 10 games. I think they're that good.
I'm going to go with that.
Yeah.
We got
I think they're good, but I think they'll get surprised by somebody, and that'll be the one difference.
They won't get surprised by Alabama. They'll just get killed by Alabama.
Okay, we're going to find out.
Right.
9.5 was that. So
John Paul Hull says over.
What do you say, John Paul over here, over there, and Ash under?
Over there. Over there.
All right, Texas Longhorns. Latest predictions. Texas, 7.5.
Ooh.
7.5.
Ooh, last year in the Big 12, I might be tempted. I tell you, I'll give you this too. I believe that next season, Texas will be playing in the SEC. I don't think it's 2025 business. They're not going to lose the momentum.
Big 12.
Yeah, so the Big 12, I think 7. I don't see it.
You don't see it?
I want to.
I'm thinking under, and here's. I might have seen an 8-win season.
Yeah, I'm taking
Till
the under.
all of this. Teams are going to be hungrier than they've ever been to play them in OU, and that hatred of what they're doing
Yeah.
might drive a loss or two that might not otherwise have happened.
He's got a
But
point.
I think 7 wins.
All right, I'm sticking it out there. I got to go 8.
He loves the
I love the Horns, and I'm going Aggies 10, 8 and 10.
Yeah,
I'll go for
yeah,
both.
I
I
can see
hope
it.
we bash it by about 10, 11.
I love Texas. And, it's the Sarkisian factor. You don't know what's going to happen. I know he's going to come out trying to be exciting. And, this guy was Nick Saban's top assistant. We'll see what he's got.
Yeah, we're going to see. I'm really excited.
Underwhelmed at UW.
Yeah, he was a young man. He drank a lot back then. I'm being honest. He had a drinking problem.
He's
And,
got a chance to make up for all that stuff.
Sure.
If he could get a good season.
he got 7 million reasons a year to do it.
I know we're doing some football.
Absolutely. We're gonna watch the Cowboys tonight. You watch the Cowboys
I'm gonna
tonight?
get in after the Generals. I'll catch it like
Blue
this.
Bombers and Tiger Cats tonight.
All
CFL
right.
season
Now, we
kicks
might have
off.
to pop on the-
Tiger Cats.
5, 10 minutes.
Tiger Cats.
Because there's
That's
another
like,
Copa
Go
Tiger.
Tigers.
that's like the Scooby Dogs.
Stamps.
Yeah, we know there's the Scooby
You know
Dogs.
who's from Canada, who's not, right?
Right.
Y'all ain't right, boys. Y'all ain't right.
Tiger Cats.
Blue Bombers.
From right there.
Tonight on TSN.
Moose Knuckle,
Let's see if
Ontario.
we get a quick game tonight. Generals win. and
Yeah.
we all go home.
Can't you run rule them in the championship?
I don't think so.
I'll be there after I leave Veracruz, but I go get to eat some good food.
You're going to Veracruz?
Yes,
There
sir.
you go.
I got a meeting over there, so I'll eat over there.
The brother man doing his he's doing his
Am I right,
Amway,
baby?
his
Am I right?
Amway presentation.
Sure.
Come on in. Why buy